So, what is causing the stock market to go up? What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Technical Solutions. I wanted to share a video with you guys that pretty much summarized that EV bill that was just passed under the Inflation Reduction Act. There are a lot of limitations, so even after this video, if you want to learn more about it, I would encourage you to look a little bit more into it to see if an EV vehicle that you plan to purchase as soon as 2023 is something that actually qualifies. I'm going to start sharing my screen and we're going to go ahead and play this video. I hope that you learned something new, and let's get right to it.
August is the beginning of a 12-month period where electric vehicle and battery production really starts to ramp up. And now the industry and investors are looking at the big Senate spending bill, which includes billions in spending on things like clean energy and an extension of the electric vehicle tax credit. Phil LeBeau with us now on what this could mean for future sales. Got to be good news for the industry getting this deal passed, Phil, I would imagine.
Absolutely, Brian, and it will help over the long run. Certain automakers will benefit very quickly. Tesla and GM, they get that federal tax credit back. Remember, it's been gone for a couple of years for them.
So the reason that he says that Tesla and GM will benefit from this tax credit right away is one of the limitations is that majority of the vehicle has to be made and manufactured in the United States or Northern America. Other companies like maybe Honda, Toyota, Kia, Hyundai do not qualify for that as they're manufactured overseas. Just a breakdown.
In terms of production, you're right. We are starting to see the beginning of a wave of production in EVs and EV batteries here in the U.S. that will really start to give some momentum to what we're expecting over the next couple of years. Volkswagen started ID4 production in Tennessee late July. You've got the Mercedes EQS. That production starts in Alabama later this month. And quietly, General Motors and LG Chem, they have the Ultium battery plant in Northeast Ohio. It's starting to begin battery production there. Those batteries are the platform, basically. They're going to be powering things like the GMC Hummer and all of the EVs to come from General Motors. And as you take a look at EV sales, keep in mind that we are seeing a dramatic increase. I know you might be sitting there saying, yeah, I see a few more Teslas on the road, but how many more are we seeing out there in overall EVs? Right now, it's up 75% through June. LMC Automotive has crunched the numbers. They expect them to have 5.4% market share of the total U.S. market, 5.4% being EVs this year. So let's take a look at some stocks. Tesla, they are the king of the hill and will be king of the hill for some time because they have the production that everybody else is working towards, but they don't have yet. In fact, Canaccord Genuity today out raising its price target for Tesla, in part because they say, look at the Fremont factory. Their annual production rate, 650,000 vehicles. Biggest plant in the United States. What does that mean for GM, Ford, and Stellantis? Well, that's a little bit different story. Adam Jonas out with a note over the weekend saying these guys are more of an ICE runoff play. Internal combustion engine vehicles, still the predominant vehicle that these guys are manufacturing. Yes, EVs are growing and are coming, but it's not the profit driver at this point. And then finally, take a look at shares of Rivian. Rivian reports its Q2 results on Thursday after the bell. And the focus here is going to be how much assurity can they give to the market about production, whether or not they've hit this cadence and they're going to make 25,000 this year. That's what people will be focused on, right? If they come out and they say, look, we're good. We're going to make our 25,000 that we have had as our guidance for some time. I wouldn't be surprised to see the stock move a little bit higher.
We have to tell everyone that we just switched to Verizon.
Alrighty, so one of the things that you didn't hear him talk much about are the different ways that that tax credit is actually broken down. It's actually pretty complicated because not only does the car have to be manufactured here, but it's also where the batteries and the materials are sourced. It's broken down into two specific parts, so both $3,750 increments, $3,750. This would be an incentive, kind of like we used to have for EV companies. That was, I think, like 2 years ago, where you would buy a Tesla and then you can get like a $3,500 tax credit, something like that, right? After they hit their $200,000 vehicle cap, when Tesla did and they hit it right away, they had to discontinue that as they met their cap for their tax credits. This tax credit is unlimited for the next 10 years. So it starts next year and doesn't end until 2032, if I'm not mistaken. The thing with this tax credit is it also does restrict you depending on your income, and also does restrict you depending on the vehicle's MSRP. If this vehicle is a normal vehicle, let's say it's like the Tesla Model S Plaid, that sells for over $100,000. To my understanding, that one would not qualify as one of those vehicles for that tax credit, because a vehicle that's just a normal sedan has to be under $55,000. The SUVs can be up to $80,000. And then again, there's all these different moving parts. This EV bill was not only a positive catalyst for companies like Tesla, but also Blink. There's a specific number of a dollar amount that's being funded into creating charging stations across the United States. They expect to have supposedly 500,000, if I'm not mistaken, 500,000 different locations for the EV chargers. And Blink is a company that's publicly traded that is going to be, trying to eat up as much as it can of that marketplace. Overall, what's the intention of this EV bill? Obviously, not only just to create a more sustainable or cleaner source of energy, is what people like to call it, right? But on top of that, you can tell by the restrictions that they put in place of they want it manufactured in the U.S., they want the battery sourced in the U.S. It makes sense that, if the United States is going to give any form of incentive, it wants to make sure that, it really limits those incentives to companies that actually do business in the United States. So this is why we're seeing such a strong push on Tesla today, even when, it really doesn't make sense on why it was holding at these levels. It took some time to kind of see why the market was reacting this way. But because of Tesla's market cap, you guys can see at $946 billion, you might be asking, okay, well, Tesla's going up. Why is Apple up? Why is Amazon up? If you can see, they're barely up, right? But when Tesla has such a large market cap and when it gaps up, you can tell. You can even look into the S&P 500. Tesla is right now pretty much just carrying the entire S&P 500 because of how bullish it is. And this is sometimes a very common thing that you will see, where markets either react very bullish or very bearish depending on a market leader in that specific area. So I just wanted you to have a little bit of a better understanding of what's causing the market to go up. I viewed the market to be a little bit more on the overbought side during the pre-market session. I decided to take a short position against the NASDAQ market as I began to see Apple and Amazon struggle to hold highs. And this was actually something that we talked about during our live trading session with my Learn Plan Profit group. So again, I think this is one of the biggest questions that we get very, very often is like, what is one of the biggest values of being able to be a part of my team? How valuable would it be for you to not get this information 1 or 2 hours later, right? How much more valuable would it have been to, have seen that resistance, have me comment on it, and then we formulate a plan on how we can actually make a profit as the NASDAQ market begins to drop. Then we begin to see SQQQ begin to rise. So from overall lows to where we're at right now, we're already approaching that 3% mark, and we're still dropping with both Amazon, Apple, and Tesla is finally beginning to lose its steam, trading below the moving average, which means that I'm just going to be adding more to my SQQQ position. So it's just a day trade, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. I wouldn't swing trade something like that. But if you have any questions that you would like to ask me, if you're an absolute beginner with the stock market and you have questions, feel free to message me via Discord. I respond to all of my direct messages within 24 hours, and that's the first link in the description of this video. I hope that you learned something new in this video. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this tax credit for the EV bill, and if it would be a reason on why you would possibly buy an EV vehicle, making it more affordable. And again, it's an incentive, and it definitely is. So really excited to follow up. Friendly reminder again, if you want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow and you want to learn more about my Learn Plan Profit group, make sure you click the second link down below, learn a little bit more about it, and see if we're a good fit for you. We will be announcing the winner for the TechBet Staycation today, so make sure that you guys follow me on Instagram, and that's that third link down below, and stay up to date with our stories and see if you are one of the lucky 3 winners for our TechBet Staycation. I really do appreciate your guys' time. I hope that it earned your thumbs up in this video. Please consider subscribing, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.